My dear people of the United Kingdoms of Tikar, Bamenda Highlands, I greet you all. Issa Tchiroma Bakari has sent out a strong message warning the government of La République du Cameroon that if within 48 hours all those locked up as a result of this protest are not released, things might never be the same again in Cameroon. We are going to analyze a section of that speech. We are also going to look at the possible response from the international community given the recent events in Cameroon. We are going to start with a comment I read under one of my videos. I take your comments on this platform seriously because I know most watching want to learn and do better in the United Kingdoms of Tikar while understanding what is happening in La République du Cameroon. The comment says, at times your outings are funny, Mr. Fru. You talk of Ukraine. Are we in Ukraine? I strongly believe that if you were the one, you would have messed up better than President Issa. You speak now because you have time to reflect. Let's stop blaming people up and down. That is a comment from someone that is concerned. I am 35. Issa Tchiroma Bakari is more than twice my age. Issa Tchiroma Bakari saw the rise of Ninjon Frunti and every strategy he deployed during the elections in '92. Issa Tchiroma Bakari was working for that government when Maurice Kamto was running for president. We are not Ukraine. We have been in contact with these white folks for 553 years. We have not been able to copy even one of their institutions and implement exactly what we see them doing. China has been in contact with these white folks for 47 years. Today, China is a first world nation, and all they took was the English language and capitalism. Underscore that and never forget. We are not Ukraine. I've heard many in our community say these things. You need money to bring about change in our community. You need connections to bring about change in our community. That means even if you hear the truth, you won't implement exactly what you heard. You'll be looking for someone who has money or connections. That is corruption. What I'm sharing right now, instead of you saying, now we know better, during the next elections, we will change strategies. No, we are not in Ukraine. We will continue this way. And yet we want democracy, we want freedom, we want prosperity. If people were not complaining that we want change, we want jobs, we want a better life, I wouldn't have been doing what I'm doing right now. Instead of us embracing a better way to do things, we say, no, we are not Ukraine, but yet we want what Ukrainians have. Instead of us doing what we see the Americans doing, we say, oh no, we are not Americans, yet we want what Americans have. I want us to listen to that video, but there is a lot for us to learn.
Cameroonians have their back today against the war, confronted with a life-threatening menace coming from this unlawful, dictatorial, state-based terrorism, state-based gas terrorism against the people.
One thing I like about that speech is Issa Tchiroma Bakari defining who the real terrorists are and have always been all this while. The Biya regime is the real terrorist. Let's keep watching.
They have been arresting out of any lawful legal procedure. They have jailed hundreds and thousands of Cameroonians deprived of their right, not because they did something, because this dictatorial regime have decided to operate ethnic cleansing, political cleansing, regional cleansing. The swearing in procedure. President Biya put his hand on the Bible to ask God to be the witness of his election. This is sacrilege. This is profanation. I just want to call your attention to the fact that he uses God just to fulfill his ugly purpose. I launch an ultimatum. I give you, in my capacity, I give you 48 hours to liberate all of those who, out of law, unlawfully, you have arrested and jailed. Failing to doing it, Cameroonians will find themselves in a legitimate defense and free to undertake whatever will enable them to recover their freedom and to free their daughters and sons who are illegally imprisoned, jailed somewhere.
President Paul Biya placed his hands on the Bible to take an oath of office. We have to be careful as we play with God. And those who are scared of change, whether in La République du Cameroon or in the United Kingdoms of Tikar, the Bible reminds us in Mark 8, chapter 35, that for whoever wants to save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake and the gospel will save it. God's sake and the gospel is truth. The truth about this country, the truth of the foundation of this nation. If you lose your life for that truth, you will preserve it. But if you try to protect your life, don't want to involve, just want to play it safe, let others do the work, you will lose your life. You'll be the easiest target in this cause of transformation in Cameroon. Now, Issa Tchiroma Bakari is repeating the script we have seen before. When we produce content like this, it's so we learn and offset the patterns. If you say you have a plan, we want to see a pattern that disrupts everything that that regime has ever known. That's why I told us the best is yet to come. And when you see me sharing what I share here, I've learned everything that this country has gone through in the past. And at least I've read at least 5 to 10 books on each subject that I'm talking about here. Issa Tchiroma Bakari still has time to change the way he's going about things. I said if I were Issa Tchiroma Bakari, I wouldn't have declared myself president. That regime understands that pattern. If I were Issa Tchiroma Bakari, I would have had representatives in every polling station. Get that result. Don't publish it yet. I'll get a PR team to guide the population, and he can still get a PR team right now and guide the population, because the regime will be waiting for him to make any mistake through speeches like this and have the crowd go out there and act without guidance, and they will use that against him. When you hear me say things like this, don't go back and say, oh, we're in Cameroon, so our story is different. What is hard for Issa Tchiroma Bakari to have a PR team? To guide the population on a daily basis on what to do when they go out. What is so hard for him to do that? I'll have my legal team working on the actual result while waiting for the Constitutional Council. Why? Because Mbia's regime is always waiting for you to react, and they find a fault in your behavior and they use that against you. I wouldn't have declared ghost town. Why? Because that slowed the momentum. Why? Because he was copying from Ambazonia. He was copying from the Anglophone zone. The regime already understands how to navigate a ghost town. I don't say things I don't do. When my relative was kidnapped, for example, when I came in, there were others that had joined a gang with Atanganji and DDR, and they went around eliminating the Amba fighters. So when you tell me, oh, I'm talking because I'm in a calm state of mind, my brother, no. I'm talking because I'm informed and I know what I'm talking about. I would have joined that gang and we start destroying all those boys because they took money from us. They kidnapped my relative. I was hurting. But no, I know these are my brothers. Even with my partial understanding of the story at that time. But the first thing was not to join the government to fight them. I wrote an economic plan that can help the entire nation. 20 years economic plan. So I'm not saying things that I don't do. Came up with an organization that was designed to build capacity for young Cameroonians to start businesses. Have a positive state of mind as you go about life. Very important. Some of you don't believe in yourself, and so you don't believe that anyone among you can come up with something better. That is why you think, if I were Issa Tchiroma, I would have acted the same. But no, my brother, this specific incident of my relative being kidnapped is a classic example. I went against the leadership. Why? Because I know that's where the problem is. Trying to get them to change their thinking. That is exactly what I did. I understand the pain of the young men on the ground because I heard them. They want change, but they were misguided. Issa Tchiroma Bakari can do these things. They don't cost because you think you need money. That is why. All these things don't cost. Go watch the interview recently published by Meme Mofo with Dr. Munzo. He said some of the things I'm saying here. And he has worked with the UN, also helped with the case in Côte d'Ivoire from your place. The legal team can pursue this cause internationally. Why the PR team is guiding the population to resist this government and the proclamation of that result. Because if he says the people are going to go out and protest, they need to be guided. Given the look of things, I don't think the military is really with Issa Tchiroma Bakari as the media portrays it to be. And I'll show you why. Let's look at the swearing in of President Paul Biya. I want you to pay attention to Atanganji Paul during that swearing in ceremony.
Effectivement, c'est la dernière ligne droite pour cette journée marathon, mais non moins historique du 6 novembre 2025. En ce moment, la remise
Ils ont coupé. Regarde les regards déjà. Regarde comment ils regardent.
Atanganji Paul looked lost during that swearing in ceremony. This is how life looks like for you when you betray your people, when you enforce falsehood. I don't see this man living in peace as he portrays it on the media. Anyone from the United Kingdoms of Tikar desiring a position in that government, you're going to have a miserable life. He looks lost because this contradicts everything that makes this man a Tikar man. His upbringing, his life, everything. But one thing I want us to understand about Atanganji, my people, when you see your people, someone from your community, show up with the heart to serve, support them in the best way possible. In as much as we judge this man, I want you to bear this in mind. When people show up with the heart to serve and you don't support them, this government hires them. They might turn against you tomorrow. I'm saying this because if I took some of the opportunities that were rendered to me, I'll probably be in one of these positions. Either in the background or on the screen, terrorizing my own people. You have to tame that urge to take a position like this. But again, when you see your own show up with the heart to serve, stand with them and support them, even in the comment section, sharing the video so that tomorrow, temptations like this, they will be able to resist it. But this is not an excuse. This is not an excuse to turn out this way. But I'm saying this is what might lead some of your people into when you don't support, even in the comment section, to share the video, to encourage them in one way or another. La Republic government will offer them something. Put them in the spotlight, and they will turn against you.
Regarde. Ils ont coupé. Regardez. Ils ont coupé quoi? Regardez.
Go take your time and watch that entire clip. This man is in pain. He's miserable. Yeah. The blood of the young men and women and mothers and fathers that have been killed in the Anglophone zone, you can't have peace. No matter how you pretend in front of the camera. That is why I tell my people, you have to calm down and think no matter what is going on with you. That is why I came up with an idea. If this nation was really intact and the people want change, we can make progress. But the mindset,
Regardez. La honte sur vous. Vous coupez quoi? Vous coupez quoi? Mettez l'image en voix. Mettez l'image en voix. Mettez.
Now, I want to show you where Issa Tchiroma Bakari lost the military. Watch this.
I am in contact with secessionists.
Yes.
Do you know Chris Anu? He's the best friend of mine.
Right there, Issa Tchiroma Bakari lost the support of the military in La République du Cameroon. And with some of the Cameroonian people and the government. So tomorrow, if you are campaigning to become president in the United Kingdoms of Tikar, do not make such a mistake and then tell us, oh, we are in a third world country. No. You never ever make such mistakes. Do you know the number of Francophones and Anglophones, soldiers? I use the Anglophones, Francophones for a purpose. Do you know the number of soldiers that have died in the Anglophone zone? For you to say you are in contact with secessionists. If Issa Tchiroma Bakari says he understands that government, this statement was uncalled for, the people welcomed you. Look at the crowd. Why do you have to say things like that? Let me benchmark that with my story. When my relative was kidnapped by Amber, I heard the cry of the young men in the bush bearing arms. Everyone thought since I was from Bamenda, I should insult the government, but I didn't. That was wisdom and that was strategy. Because I had an economic plan after listening to the young men in the bush bearing arms that could move the entire nation. That is, the government and the private sector can partner and we move this nation forward. I didn't fully understand the Southern Cameroon's story like I do now. So I didn't insult the government. That was wisdom. So showing up in Bamenda, saying you are the best friend of a secessionist, given the mindset the government has and most Cameroonians have about us, was not a wise move. That is why I call this the illusion of change. Brother, this is 553 years. We have to see what has worked, copy it, implement it, get results. This is not time for speculation. 553 years we have been in contact with these white folks since 1472. China got in contact with these white folks in 1978. Today they are a first world nation. And we still think we have time because we are black people, we are Cameroonians, things are done differently. China did not have the resources we have today. China did not have the money we have today. China heard something good, implemented exactly what they saw and what they heard, and got results. What is hard? To say, oh, brother, wake up at 7, we meet at 8, from 8 to 5, we just implement exactly what we saw, what we heard, and get the same result. Is that too hard? No. I'll see what is going on. I turn around, I tell this what you say, oh, no, because we are black people, so our own case is different. No, brother, come on. Let's keep listening. So this is where Issa Tchiroma Bakari lost the Cameroon army, because thousands of Cameroonian armies have died in the Anglophone zone. And to say this, immediately you lose the trust of the head of defense in Cameroon and the military. But let's see, maybe he has another strategy, but this was a big blunder. You saw the backlash he had from the Francophone side, and Chris Anu, the backlash he had from the Anglophone side. Now, for those who are hoping that the international community will come help us. Let's listen to the president of Ukraine. Some will hear this, still go back in the bars, in the community, and said, let's hope that the UN will come help us. We hear this, we change strategies immediately. We stop hoping that some international community is coming to help us. You woke up this morning to cook food for your children. You didn't contact Paul Biya or the governor to ask them what type of food should you cook for your children. We will have issues in our community, issues in our country. These issues are affecting us. We understand these issues better than anyone else. But somehow we think what the international community will say is better than what we can come up with to solve that problem. Some believe like this in our community. Whatever village you come from, if I ask you the problem in that village, the way you understand that problem, no white man will be able to understand that problem like you, a local in that community. And that is why they solve the problems in their own communities, these Western nations, and arrive at a place where they have a solution. We understand the problem, but we refuse that we do not have the power to solve that problem. Now let's listen to Zelensky.
It's terrible, but without it, things would be even worse. There are no security guarantees except France and weapons. No Ukrainian choice this kind of reality. And knowing our people, they would have chosen a different priority. Ukrainians are peaceful people, but they are people who want to live freely in their own independent country. That's why we invest in defense. For many nations, there is simply no other way left. Nations can speak about their pain from stages like this, but even during bloodshed, there isn't a single international institution that can truly stop it. That's how weak these institutions have become. What can Sudan or Somalia or Palestine or any other people living through war really expect from the UN or the global system?
What can you expect from the UN or the global system? If it's up to us, Tikar people, given our history, we don't really like war. We don't like fighting like this. But we are given no option but this path. But let's be strategic, have a story, and pursue our cause. Because no international community is coming to help you. They want to see you carry yourself as the nation that is independent. Today we are acting as though we want to be dependent, not independent. We said we wanted independence. The 1950s, 1960s, we said we wanted independence. Till today, our thinking, our actions, how we feel is as though we are a dependent nation, not independent nation. We still believe that another nation like France, Britain, and America has 100% control over our nation, and we have no control. This is a mindset, but they don't have control. They have interests, not control. And that is what your governments have made you to believe, that these nations have control. Or through propaganda, you've shared among yourselves that these nations have control. They run the same businesses in China, but China doesn't think France, America controls them. But while they run the same businesses in Cameroon, we go on with the notion that they are controlling us. You've heard it from Zelensky. Look at Ukraine. Do you know how much America has contributed to help Ukraine, even with training and support. But yet, this man, the president of Ukraine, stands before the UN and says it is tough because the UN can't help us. But after this video, my brother, you will still have people in our community thinking of what the international community will say, will do in our situation. You can't help that. This is intentional ignorance. And they will start pointing to Nigeria right now. I want to let you know, President Trump is a Republican president, so they value Christianity, they value trade, they have some values. So they are going to Nigeria because of Christianity, not because of political instability, and because America has been supporting Nigeria since 2009. It really kicked off in 2013-14 to help train Nigerian soldiers to combat Boko Haram. And that job has not been done because people think, oh, maybe it's because of the coffins on social media. Yes, that triggered it, but the US has been sending help, support, training to help fight the Boko Haram in the north. And to think that job has not been done, and the people are on social media, that is why they are coming in, because they have something in common, which is Christianity. So America is not coming in because of the political instability in Nigeria. America is coming in because of Christianity. And if Christians are in pain anywhere around the world, Americans try to solve the problem, they will take these steps. So you've heard it. Independence. That is what we wanted. If we can't listen to ourselves, we can't listen to our own, we can't think, strategize. We believe like, oh, if you were you would do the same. That kind of a language, my brother. That is why I clarify us here. That is why I help us with education, which is step one. This is very important before you pick up a gun. Even why the young men in the bush are still bearing arms, I do not encourage them to lay down their arms, but we need to coordinate ourselves now. Like I said, while La République du Cameroon are pursuing their cause to install a president that they believe won the elections, this is time for us to secure our eastern borders. And the way we do that is having clarity on our story, our vision, our mission, where we are going as a people, based on who we are, our migration story, how slavery and slave trade destabilize our entire economy, the effects of colonialism, the fact that we don't have any union treaty binding us with La République du Cameroon, which based on international law, we are not legally citizens of La République du Cameroon. We remain on this premise. I've clarified our position with the Southwest. Because some people say, oh, tribalism is ravaging our community. But now, can you define, articulate what tribalism is really doing to you and how you plan to solve that problem? And also with the leadership styles that I have explained, because leadership styles do affect people and how they see the world. A people's worldview is being shaped by their leadership culture. No matter what you do, the leadership culture from the community, from the country that you come from, shapes your worldview. So we start there. You have to be clear on these things. And that is why we have been able to have a story that reflects our leadership culture, so that we can build a country that doesn't contradict who we are and how far we've come as a people. We have a story that spans 4,000 years, at a minimum 1,600 years from the time we arrived at Adamawa to Bambafia and to the Highlands. just like Israel, just like Ireland. That is how they got their independence, on indigenous grounds. Yet we don't have a union treaty. Our case is like that of Kuwait, that of the Baltic states, Lithuania. And our vision is to build the first civilized nation in the continent of Africa, based on who we were before slavery and slave trade. This is ancestral continuity. Huge. Even the UN respects this. Not just the fact that we don't have a legal union treaty, but ancestral continuity. This is a hammer. And you think you win with guns? No, you win with this. Jesus Christ did not need an army. We have more than 2 billion Christians today. All he needed was a good word that gets into your mind and changes how you think. And that word changes your attitude and your behavior, and you become a transformed human being. And that is what this message should do to you.